Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be talking about Alice Feeney's new book, Beautiful Ugly. So this story is about Grady, who's an author. He's on his phone with his wife one night and she's in the car. She sees something in the road and he tells her on the phone, don't get out of the car because stranger danger. But she doesn't listen, so she gets out of the car and then she just disappears. So then he goes out and tries to find her and all that's left is just the car on the edge of a cliff and her phone. Then a year later, he's still overcome with grief. He can't write, he can't sleep. So his agent or editor, I can't remember, is then telling him, hey, you should go to this remote Scottish island. So he goes there and hopes that he can get rid of his writer's block. And then when he's on the ferry, he thinks he's seeing his wife. So we're not sure, is she still alive? Does she have a twin sister? What's going on? And you know, I might be a little bit biased here because Alice Feeney is one of my favorite authors and I've read almost all of her books at this point, but I overall gave this 4 stars. And the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is that the pacing could have been a little bit faster for me. I think it was medium pace, but as always, she has phenomenal writing in this. She wrote this really atmospheric story. I mean, it's a remote island. That's also one of my favorite tropes. And she really gets these like remote, eerie vibes. What I also found to be really helpful in this was they actually included a map of that island. So every time something is mentioned in the book, for example, the Stumble Inn, the library, you can go back here and then really visualize where Grady's at right now. I really like that. And not only that, she also used some mixed media in here. So for example, there are some newspaper articles in here, and I really like when books are doing that. It just keeps it a little bit more engaging for the reader. And another thing that I really liked about this is how much detail she put into this story. I'll just give you a small example. The chapter names always consist of 2 words and they're opposite of each other, just like the title, Beautiful Ugly. So for example, one is awfully good, or silent scream, or big baby. And as I was catching on to that, I just went back to all of the chapter names, and the first chapter name is Happily Married. So I thought that was really funny, meaning that happily and married don't go together, at least for the couple in here, right? Another thing I really liked about this is that you get different point of views and you really don't feel like you can trust anyone. I love unreliable narrators, unreliable characters in general, or any characters that are not likable. For some reason, I like reading about that. And one thing I also thought was super funny to me, and I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but once Grady gets to the island and he starts talking to the people that live on the island, they're just so rude to him, but in such a funny way that it really made me giggle sometimes, and I thought that was just hilarious. And as the story progresses, it just gets crazier and crazier, and you keep thinking, wait, I thought this was gonna happen. I was so sure that this is what's gonna happen. Alice just does this really well, where in the very end, in the last pages, or sometimes even the last sentence, it completely flips around and it ends entirely different. And this caught me by surprise too. I mean, yes, it was over the top, and I think that's also why some people don't like it, just because it's so out there. But the more I thought about it, the more I really liked it. Just because when I read her books, I always go in with, this is gonna be just a fun ride, this is gonna be crazy and over the top, and just have a good time with it. And that's exactly what I had here. But again, I gave it 4 stars just because I thought the pacing could have been a little bit faster in my opinion. And at some point, it almost felt like dragging a little bit, where I was thinking, okay, can we just get to the next point? But overall, this was a really great read and I highly recommend it. And one final thing I wanted to mention is I'm the type of person that always reads the acknowledgements, and I always love it when authors are thanking their readers, and then sometimes they even thank bloggers. And Alice actually went so far that she's explaining in her acknowledgement that one of the characters in the book, Abby, who is Grady's wife, was actually named after a book blogger who is Abby Endler with Crime by the Book. And I thought that was so cool that she was doing that. But that's just something on the side that I wanted to mention here that I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, in general, I highly recommend this if you've already read some Alice Feeney books and you enjoyed them. I really think you will enjoy this one too. And if you're new to Alice Feeney, I think this is a great start. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.